Blessed Virgin Mary. This church is cared for by the Churches Conservation Trust, the national charity protecting historic churches at risk. Although no longer used for regular worship, our churches remain consecrated and open to all. This is what the entrance looks like at 9:05 on an April evening. And this is it. Very atmospheric. It's actually quite cosy. Maybe it's because I've got a fleece on and my insulated jacket as well, but I actually feel nice and cosy. Maybe it's the curry and the chocolate pudding and the 2 beers. Anyway, going to go back outside and just chill out. It's just gone 10 p.m. and I'm probably going to crash out. You've seen I've surrounded my camp bed and sleeping bag with the candles. I've put it up against one of the benches and I've got a chair on the other side to reduce the chance of me falling out of it during the night, because I do toss and turn a bit. I'm starting to hear a few little cracks actually, which is a bit disconcerting. It's probably just the building sort of heated up during the day, and my house does that. It creaks and groans a bit after dark, but in the church by itself, especially when I do all the lights out, I hope that doesn't last for very long. I'm going to say good night. I'll speak to you in the morning. Hello, good morning. Welcome back to the Blessed St Mary the Virgin Church at Emborough. It's just gone 7 a.m. Been up about half an hour, just been across to the loo. I slept really well last night. The only thing I would say is when I switched the candles out, there was quite a lot of light flooding in from all the windows. You may see behind me there's a lot of light coming in here. It's certainly not a dark and dank place, that's for sure. What I would probably do next time, and possibly recommend to other people, is bring one of those masks, you know, this sort of thing you get on airplanes for long haul flights, you know, just to darken out the light. Luckily, the creaking and the cracking and the bumps just stopped instantly the minute I switched the candles off, because that was a bit disconcerting. I'm just going to put some hot water on now, have a coffee, and then I'll boil my breakfast up. So I'll see you outside shortly. Just at the porch area, near where I ate last night, I noticed there was a couple of dog ends, which is a little bit disappointing, the fact that people drop them here. But I've just been over to the loo, and there's some sanitary bags in there, so I'm just going to use those, especially with COVID, just to clear up other people's dog ends. There was a few I spotted. The principle of wild camping is you leave no trace. What you take in, you take out, or you bury your own waste. And that applies here as well. Even though there's a little litter bin here, I'll be taking all my own rubbish. And I'm not averse to picking up other people's rubbish as well. I love the countryside, so I don't particularly want it ruined by other people. Anyway, water's nearly boiled. I'm going to go outside and have my breakfast. That's my coffee in the plastic collapsible cup. And this is what I made up at home. Some coffee sachets already with sweetener in, so I'm just trying to keep everything as light as possible for my Fossway trip. So again, this is just a way to just see if everything works on this trip. On the inner door there's the champing sign, so shush, champing in progress, do not disturb. Please feel free to visit this champing church up to 6 p.m. this evening and after 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, thank you. The simple concept of camping in ancient churches. In the notes it said, Champers have access to the church from 3 p.m. onwards, so if the weather was really bad you could sort of head here and hold up for a few hours. You would possibly have to sort of share it with other people who are looking around, and then after 6 p.m. you've got exclusive use of it. It's locked by the warden. The lady who runs the B&B next door is the warden for this church, and I've got it up until 10 a.m. this morning. When you do the booking, once you've paid your money, you get an email across with a PDF attachment, and it just tells you everything in that you need to know. I'm not going to go into detail for obvious security reasons, but everything about gaining access, and even if I'm taking the trouble to read it about the water in there as well. I'm not convinced about that meths burner. It just doesn't give out much heat. I've even tried to shield it with this bit of wall and a stone to make a heat reflector, but it just took so long to boil up last night and again this morning for the coffee. I think what I may do is try something else on my next wild camp. I may take my solid fuel burner and a load of hexi tabs and just see if that's any quicker. I really don't want to be taking a petrol stove just for one night on the Fosway trip, so that's a problem that's got to be sorted. But everything else, the coffee sachets, the collapsible cup, everything else, the billy can, all seems to be fine. It's just the little mess burner I'm unsure about. This morning's breakfast is one of these MRE meals: chicken, sausages and beans. The sausages and beans sound breakfasty. I don't know about chicken, but I'm treating this as breakfast anyway. You can feel really long sausages in there. Just boiled it for 8 minutes. I'm just about to open it now after letting it stand for 2 minutes, and I'll tell you what it's like. It's fine. It's coming up to 8 AM now, so I thought I'd give you a guided tour of the church and the grounds. So this is that right angled bend I came in last night. You just come along here a few yards, and then the bed and breakfast is down there. That's where the warden is, and you come in this way, and here's the church. There's my seat over there by the porch, the entrance. That's where I had my meal last night, and I've just had my breakfast now. Let's have a wander around. I was told to be prepared for it to be quite cold in these churches overnight. There's no heating and there's no electric lighting either, just the battery imitation candles. And also we are 700 feet up here in the Mendips, but I was toasty warm in my sleeping bag. In fact, the church itself felt quite warm last night. I wonder if it gets so much sun because it's already warm now. That's what the creaking and the groaning was, just the whole building cooling down. As I said, it didn't scare me. It sort of like made me jump just before I got into bed. Looking over at Chewton Mendip Spire there, a few miles away. And this is right down by the apex of the bend. And this is the view I've often seen as I came past here. Often thought I wouldn't mind looking at sometime. I never dreamed I'd ever be staying in there overnight. As regards practical purposes, yes, there is a chemical toilet. You don't even need to flush it, it disposes itself. There's hand sanitizers in there, paper towels, and also sanitary bags, which I said were quite useful for me to act as a glove just to pick other people's dog ends up. I don't think I've ever reviewed a loo before, so this is the first time I think. Just between the church and the farm, which leads into the B&B, is this wooden hut. And I noticed it's got a solar panel on the top, so let me just give you a quick guided tour. Hello. It's got a combination lock. Again, you're given all the information in the PDF file they send you. I was trying to work out last night where the flush was, and I suddenly realised it's solar powered. There's the wires coming in from the unit on the ceiling, and it's completely automatic. I was looking around last night in my tiredness, in the semi-darkness, everywhere for a flush, and I just couldn't find it. I thought, oh, I'll work that out tomorrow morning. It's fully automatic then, you don't have to do anything. I really wanted to show you this though. This is a really nice touch. Look how they've carved in a replication of a church door, church window. That just is such a lovely little touch. And then when you lock yourself in, you've got one of these draw cord lights, LED lights. We got those at home, they're really effective. It's really clean and well supplied. So there's a bin there, some joss sticks if you want to light those, spray, hand sanitizer, paper towels, spare loo roll, and also some sanitary bags. That's what I used to pick up those cigarette dog ends this morning. So yeah, very well impressed. And this is one of my little friends. This is one of the two dogs next to the loo. This is the one that doesn't bark. Hello, hello, hello. The other one looks more like a guard dog. He's the noisy one, although I think he's got used to me now. Right, bye guys. See you again, hopefully. I've got about 30 minutes. I'm just going to sit outside in the sun. I'm not leaving till bang on 10, that's for sure. What a beautiful day again. Lovely location. I was blown away last night by the ride down from the Mendips. As I said, it felt unfamiliar. It just had the end of the day adventure feel to it, especially as I got here just as the sun was going down, starting to cool. It was very welcome. I'm glad I had the beer as well, because I wouldn't have fancied riding down to Chilcompton just for that. So I'm just going to sit here and maximise my rental time. Following the tour of the loo, give you a quick little story about my bike. I noticed the rear wheel rim was really starting to cave in over the winter. I bought myself a spare, and I've salvaged the hub off the old one, and I bought a new rim at the same time as I bought the wheel. So that's been built up at Cadence in Bath, my local bike shop, so that'll be a spare. But I put brand new transmission on, chain, cassette. When I went to do that Fossway number 3 recce, where I walked across the farmland and I had to lift my bike over a gate, I don't know whether it was wear and tear or whether I bashed the chainring there, but as I rode away I started getting this horrible clunking. I looked down and I thought, I think I might have bent one of the teeth. You know, it actually looks like I've snapped one off. Well, when I got home I actually had. Here's a picture of it. So I saw the funny side of it. 35 tooth chainring is quite rare. I've never known that before. I've bent them before, but I've never snapped one off before. As I said, whether that was wear and tear or damage on that gate, that's the more likely cause. So rather than just put one spare chainring on, I keep loads of spares at home. So there's brand new 3 chainrings. And at the same time I just stripped everything down, re-greased everything, all the cables are new. It's really running a treat actually. So just chilling out by the porch, having my second cup of coffee. There's tea and coffee making facilities in there. I could have a third and a fourth if I want to before I leave. I've got the place to myself till 10 AM, so I'm in no rush whatsoever to leave. As I said yesterday, the plan was to do a simulated first day ride on my Fossway with pretty much all the kit I'm likely to take, just to sort of get an idea of the time frame and what time I'm likely to need to leave and to arrive. What I've been up to recently, I've done 4 200 DIYs in the last few weeks. The Audax system reopened for 200s and 300s on March the 29th, I think. So I built up by doing a 100 kilometre, 150 kilometre, and then I did an Imperial Century, and that was they were the ones that I thought, oh gosh, this is a bit difficult getting back to this sort of distance. By the time I did the first 200, it just felt a breeze. So it really does pay not to jump in at the deep end, just to gradually sort of swim your way up there. I'm now thinking of doing some 300s because they're the real fat burners, and I do need to drop a little bit more weight. I'm starting to feel really the benefits of the Audax in, but I know the 300s will really sort of set me up for the year. Hopefully do a 400 and a 600 later in the year. Even if the Audax system doesn't open up to allow it, I may do it just unofficially as I did last year. I definitely want to do some more camping. this was part experiment, but also just part pure pleasure and enjoyment of a new experience. I've loved it. I am loving it, actually. It's still happening. I don't want to talk too much about the future because it stops you enjoying the present, but I do plan to go and do a wild camp that I wanted to do in the winter. And what I'll do then is I'll take my petrol stove up as a backup probably, but I will take a solid fuel burner up and just experiment with boiling water with that as well. I just want to try and speed up the process because that meth stove was so slow last night and this morning. I'm not sure if I want that on an overnight bivvy. So I have to work on that, but everything else I tried yesterday worked a treat actually. I'm in shorts already, it's so warm. You are invited to make an entry in the visitors book, so I've just dug it out, and first thing I'm going to do is read what other people think. I know what I'm going to put, but here we go. See what others have said. St Mary the Virgin, Emborough. Oh wow. I'm going to spend a few minutes with my third coffee of the morning going through this. Well, I've made my entry and it looks like I'm the first person to have stayed here this year. The entries come from quite close actually: Emborough, Chewton, Mendip, Castle Kerry, Bristol. I mean, whether they're people just as me wanted a local night away. There's also people from as far away as where we got Cheshire, even Australia, Suffolk, Dublin, Ireland. Most of the groups are 2 and then 3s, get the occasional 4 and 5, quite a few solos as well. So that gives you an idea of the type of people that come here. There's a lot of people in there have put as their address just CCT, that's the Church's Conservation Trust. So, oh yeah, CCT Works, maybe that was a works party, I don't know. Or maybe just people visiting. Certainly going to want to visit more of these places. Oh, CCT Volunteer. Why? Oh, USA. Free Union, VA, USA. Gosh. There's a few from Suffolk actually. That's the third one I've spotted. Oh, Bordeaux, France. Bath. Bristol, London. All packed up about 15 minutes before I leave. So as I found it, apart from the one chair I've still got outside, cleaned up everything. I've actually hand sanitised all the handles. Really smells of disinfectant and alcohol. I've just sat out here for my final 15 minutes in the sun in sandals before I get changed. My bike's all laden up. I could have left my rubbish here, but I just decided not to. I bought it in, so I'll take it out. And the same with the beer bottles as well. I've wedged them in as they were last night. I've performed all the security requests. Again, I won't go into that, but they ask you how they want you to leave it. I'm just going to spend the next 15 minutes in the very warm sunshine, enjoying my last few minutes here. As I was approaching here last night, because I'd never done this before, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I know they'd given me all the instructions on how to gain access and all the necessary codes, but I recall going to a couple of bunkhouses and thinking, oh gosh, I hope I can read all the combinations and see in the dark. I took head torches, spare batteries, I took my reading glasses, even had a phone number for emergencies just in case I couldn't get in, because one of them was midwinter. And lo and behold, the warden literally lives right next door, and he came over and was showing me all around, and that's very nice, but I sort of went there for solitude, and I'm quite self-reliant. I quite like figuring it out myself really. So I was wondering if that would happen here last night, but no, I haven't been approached whatsoever, and I like it like that. I had to figure it all out myself, and as I said, I made the mistake of not reading the instructions clearly enough, otherwise I wouldn't have bought that water. Incidentally, I've left it here completely sealed up, so it's there as a donation to whoever may want it. I'm not sure who would, because there's plenty of water here anyway, but anyway, I've left that. As usual, this is just purely a personal opinion, but the experience has been fantastic. and £49 for an overnight. It blows Travelodge out the water, to be honest. I mean, Travelodge is a good value for money, but they just don't have the feeling and the experience of living overnight, owning almost a church to yourself. And I've just been blown away by the experience. Actually, the weather's really helped, of course, but yeah, I will definitely be doing this again, and I'm pretty sure I'll come back here again as well, because I really like this one. And you know, anything like that, the first one you ever visit is always going to be very, very special to you. Another 5 minutes, alas, and I've got to go. So I'll sign off now. Say, as usual, thank you so much for watching. Look after each other, take care, and see you next time.